per trade calculators and common sense on how our league is set up, it wasn't a, he was wanting to me to give, he was wanting me to give too much to make a fair trade.
Well, I will admit that Hayden does put a lot of like research, and he does try to
Yeah,
make the best trade possible.
and I can honestly
Sometimes
see his rationale towards why he wanted me to pay a little more, but I'm willing to roll the dice because it is a running back driven league in our league. So I'm not gonna overpay for a receiver that really didn't do nothing. I had him on my roster last year and I traded him. So I'm not.
Let's get into details. What was the offer? And I mean, how did this all go down? Who hit who up, and what players were inquired about?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of put him on blast, but I'll go ahead and do it. Guy, he sucked up his pride despite the bet and asked what it would take to move Arian Foster. I told him I needed a receiver. He said, "Well, that's cool."
You wanted Arian Foster?
The same guy that made the bet that he wouldn't start 3 games at the draft. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Then he proceeds to tell me that for the small price of Arian and Amari Cooper, I could have AJ Green.
Hayden, I've taught you well.
He's playing on that Georgia attitude.
Needless to say, if I have Amari rated higher than AJ point, I wouldn't make that trade between Amari and AJ, much less add, Pro Bowl, running back. I mean, who is injury prone, and I understand his rationale for not wanting to, but still, I'm willing to take the gamble. I'm not going to give up Amari Cooper. And let that be known now. Nobody's getting Amari Cooper off my roster. I mean, I reached up.
Never say never.
Well, that is true. I mean, if the price is right and the situation dictates.
So, just to get the story straight, he hit you up about Arian.
Yes, he hit me up about Arian Foster. I believe the exact words is, "I hate to ask you this," and I knew it was going to be juicy.
What when the trades broke, when the negotiations broke down, what was the original offer and what was the last counter?
The original offer was Arian Foster for Emmanuel Sanders straight up. That's that's an obvious hell no. Now, maybe if this would have been 2 years ago and Peyton would have been still playing good, that would have been conceivable. But no.
I mean, it was a 1-for-1 that way. I mean, it wasn't. That doesn't sound like too big of a ripoff.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. And obviously, and he did point out that Emmanuel was in a contract year, but
their quarterback is never.
I mean, their quarterbacks, their quarterback situation is a little too sketchy for me to touch that. So, and they still got Demarius. Demarius is still the big dog on campus, as far as I'm concerned.
Mark Cooper and AJ Green. How did they get involved?
I told him I needed a number 1 receiver. I mean, and pretty much then he threw out a list.
So you basically said you want a number 1 instead of a number 2 for Foster.
Right. Which seems rational. There's only 32 starting running backs in the league, so. And I mean, if I wanted a number 2, I'm sure I could find one for cheaper than Arian Foster. Which, like I said, I mean, if the quarterback situation wasn't so sketchy in Denver, I would have jumped all over that, actually. But it is what it is. When a Denver fan tries to sell you a Denver player, there's obviously he knows something I don't.
Hey, that's a valid point. That is a valid point.
That's how I feel with every trade. What the hell does he know that I don't know?
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Well, I mean, just without getting into any names, I mean, I've had multiple people hit me up. Have the rest of you guys had multiple people or people inquire about certain players on your team, or is it been? I'm always in the thick of things, but Asian kid, has anybody hit you up?
I've discussed trades with Hayden, and they have been pretty reasonable. I'll say that. We just haven't pulled the trigger.
You gotta throw names out there. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, I've only really tried.
Anybody other than Hayden? You don't have to name them, but have you had anybody else?
No one hit me up. I'm usually doing the hitting myself. But yeah. I mean, in
NAFTA in action.
NAFTA inactive.
And you know what? At some point he wanted Larry Fitzgerald. I don't remember the fine details of the it's down there on the charter of everything we discussed. Seemed like at one point he was willing to. I think it was for TY. I could have gave up Larry instead of Amari. For AJ, I had to give up Amari. Like I said, I'm not completely retarded about Aaron Foster's injuries, but I'm willing to roll the dice. He hits a couple bonuses. People are going to be willing to pay a little more. So
fair.
That makes sense, yeah.
Jamie, you got any trades in the works? People been hitting you up? I mean, you probably been hitting people up.
I've touched base with a few people, and a few people have touched base with me. I've got one or two deals that's in place. It's just I feel like a lot of people are wanting to get past the first week or two before they really start looking to move any big names. Just the whole I don't want to trade somebody or trade for somebody and then they go down for the year. That whole seems like a lot of people are superstitious. I mean, I've made a couple trades, right? I've made I think 2 trades or maybe even 3. So
yeah,
far.
I think you just picked up like Andre Johnson or something.
Yeah, what happened with him? Yeah, what was that about?
Like an idiot, I didn't realize I was now a linebacker. So once I got Andre, I realized even with Nelson sending me Shazier for this, I still need a linebacker. So then I started going down my roster and it just down to he's a 34, 35-year-old receiver on yet another team, and it sucks. But I had to cut him like 3 hours later, like after I traded for him. So got him. Nelson, he got over on me on that one. That's that was a stupidity.
That don't happen much, so I'll take it.
And then I think I made a deal with Ian Barnes.
Speaking of.
We threw a couple big names out there. I traded him D'Angelo Williams, and there was multiple pieces, but basically it was D'Angelo Williams for Sammy Watkins. That was the meat of the trade. There were some other players involved too, but I think that's been my only 2 trades. Maybe that's done enough.
Speaking of Tevin Coleman, Barlow, what's that, man? Chris Ivory.
Well,
both your handcuffs.
Let's make a trade happen on Fantasy Talk before let's make this happen.
Well, we talked last night a little bit. I was out, so it wasn't too direct, but yeah, the last offer you made me was definitely more appealing to me. Coleman's good. I kind of don't want.
Hold on. How many Falcons games do you watch?
None.
Oh boy.
Not one.
He handcuffed his first round.
I'm just gonna tell you this: Devontae Freeman will get paid from somebody, but it won't be Atlanta. Tevin Coleman is twice a bit as explosive as Devontae Freeman, man. Tevin Coleman's yet to show that he can be a workhorse. Yeah, but if he's in, dude, he's. The
value is if Coleman gets a concussion again, like he did last year, or whatever happens, if he gets hurt or whatever, he's got Freeman. He'll have the handcuff. That's really his only value. I don't see Coleman taking the job from him.
Right.
Well, hold on now. He's already earned his way up to splitting reps with him, quote unquote.
Well, see, that's
Devontae did not earn the starting job. He got it when Tevin Coleman went down with an injury.
Right, but he earned the starting job this preseason and the off season.
And see, he earned it last season by his.
Well, right. That and Coleman didn't dethrone him this preseason.
With this trade, you also have the peace of mind of Chris Ivory, in my opinion, will be the starting running back. I could be wrong on that, but
He's in Jacksonville now, right?
that secures both of your
Oh,
running
wait,
backs.
what was the offer? Coleman and Ivory for what?
Or Landry, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry.
Or
2 running backs for a receiver. I mean,
And
Right.
you got Yeldon, Josh, from Hayden.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Okay, but see, here's what I'm seeing in it.
That would give you both of two teams' running games, essentially. You'd have the Falcons and Jacksonville's run games.
Right,
no matter
but
what.
the deal is, especially in Jacksonville, they're both going to be splitting carries. So who the fuck do I play if one of them's getting 15 points a game, the other one's getting 15 points a game, and then if it's the same thing in Atlanta, why do I want them both? I can't play them all.
Split carries. There's only a few that actually really, when you get down to the meat of it, have a true running back by committee. I think
Right.
Ivory takes that job hands down.
I'm pretty high on Jarvis Landry.
Right. See, that's the other part of it for me too, because I had him last year, and he was by far my best receiver. You bring him back, Tannehill's still there, all that's the same, and then you have Matthews gone this season to Tennessee, so the next biggest target that he had from last year is gone. So maybe Landry sees even more targets now.
That's true. I mean, I obviously want Landry too, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to super overpay. I'll just wait for Devontae to come down. And
Yeah, see, that's...
I mean, as a Falcons fan, I'm obviously not hoping that happens, but when it does, I'll be here.
Well, in that case, then I will hit you up then and possibly pay a bigger price.
I just hope all my running backs are still performing, so I'm in a position to trade them.
Right.
But, I might have to plug him in myself. What I love about this whole fantasy thing is it's all assumptions, man. Like,
Yep.
some guys that did great last year are not going to necessarily do, and then there's going to be new guys and riding the waiver wire, all that fun shit that goes into it. So
I think that's the biggest part of it, is just keeping an eye on who's developing and then being able to snatch them first.
yeah, and by the way, great pickup on that Sharp kid from Tennessee. Once I had him and I realized some asshole named Barlow had rostered him. Yeah, that was a nice pickup. That kind of caught me off guard. I was expecting it to be Dustin or somebody, and sure enough, it was you.
Yeah, I'm trying to put in a little more homework this year.
I was gonna say, I've noticed Josh has been a lot more active this year than he was.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and correct Sean. Dude, you don't have a bad team. You've got a really solid team, Josh. I would grade you up there in the.
Chris takes Sean's
I'd
little
appreciate
rankings
it.
and predictions to like the heart, man. Every time we talk about fantasy, Sean's prediction comes up.
Well, I mean, and not to throw Christian under the bus, but he gave Christian an A. There's no way, Christian, you got a way better team. And I will say this too: the whole time Joey was pick drafting at the house, I was like smirking, and I was like, "This dude is crazy, man." Then at the end of the draft, I go back and look at his roster, and like, I don't think anybody really has a terrible roster.
Yeah.
He beat me this week. Like, I'm on upset alert. Like, he's got good matchups in almost every one of his positions.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't say you weren't laughing a little bit at his picks too, Jamie. Everybody, I think.
The only one I laughed at was Eddie Lacy in the first. I completely agree with Anderson in the second. Yeah, that was the only one I laughed at with Joey. But Eddie has slimmed down, and he's pretty much fighting for his
Yeah, he's fighting for his career, man. I think he's got a good. I mean, he's got a good roster.
Or stretch. He took CJ in the second, and that's exactly where CJ's going a lot of mocks. So he's got a lot of value.
I'm just not high on CJ. Of course, a lot of people aren't high on DeMarco. So
they for quarterback this year. A lot of people are high on Bortles. He's also got Matt Ryan. So no, Joey's got a very solid team.
Yeah, I think this is the first year where across the board, I feel like everyone's teams are pretty balanced. Like there's some teams that are clearly really good, but like across the board, on average, I would say most of the teams are pretty balanced. I mean,
Nobody has a just god awful team.
Right.
the room of separation between like the best team and the worst team isn't as high as it normally is.
Right. It's very yeah, absolutely. What was I gonna say? I think everybody agrees with you except for Will, because he was literally sitting back in Hayden's office calling people idiots. Pick after pick. You could hear him. I walked out there. These guys are idiots. Y'all just keep doing what you idiots. Idiots. Mm-hmm. Will was just sitting back there.
Why is that not surprising?
That's funny.
Oh, shit, man. And then I remember Nelson goes, "Who's that in there?" Just cussing. I was like, "Will? Why is he mad?" He's like, "He's not mad. He's making fun of all of us."
Hey man, it's Will's world. We're all living in it.
Williamsville.
It's probably a good segue.
I will say this: by the end of the year, Joey will cut Matt Ryan too. That's another.
Really? You think so?
Yeah. I've been watching Matt and Kyle Shanahan go together like a glove on a foot. I mean, they just don't match. Matt Ryan's not going to.
Well, before we head into, I guess, the next segment, Josh, do we want to throw some bold predictions out there? Like everybody, he's saying that Matt Ryan will be cut by Joey.
Nice. Yeah.
Do you want it? It's in fantasy football or the NFL. Any bold predictions?
God. Bold prediction for.
I have one.
Go ahead.
I have one for this week. There will be a large upset in one of the matchups this week. I'm not gonna say who.
No, you can't do that, Matt.
You can't do that. You gotta name it. If it's me, say it's me. Go ahead and spit it.
Well, I mean, some players don't have their lineup set. I mean, I'm saying, but
Who started that?
You've already scoped something out. You gotta say it, dude.
You've already. Just go ahead and put it out there, dude. If it's me, I ain't gonna get mad. Hell, I'm kind of on upset alert myself. Joey's squad.
Well, I mean, we're gonna go over this in a second when we go through each matchup.
Well, yeah, but go ahead and say it.
Right. This is our bold prediction segment. You got to throw something out there.
You gotta throw something out there. What matchup? Who is on upset alert?
I'll just say the matchups that are on upset alert. I will say Will and Creamer's matchup is
Who's the favorite?
I would say the world has Will as a favorite, but I do not think he's the favorite.
The Cream.
What's the other one?
Upset. The guy calling everybody idiots loses week 1.
And I'm making a bold prediction that Joey's team will upset the reigning champion week 1.
I like it.
Nice.
I like it. That makes things very interesting.
Oh man, I'll give you props. Do you have anything, Josh?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this year's big multi-team trade, whoever it may involve, is going to at least include the #1 fantasy quarterback in our league of all time, Mr. Drew Brees himself.
Wow, of course.
I can see that.
That's real. Breeze,
I can see that after
I think
that
so,
first week upset.
Will's gonna be mad.
Will's gonna be like calling me. These guys are idiots. Lying. Okay, so Drew Brees is gonna be involved in the big multi-team trade.
Nope.
Is Barlow seeking him? That's the question.
Do you have inside knowledge? Has it already been tossed around?
There's nothing going around in the rumor mill just yet. But it's gonna be there.
For me, I'm like on draft day. David Johnson will be a top 5 running back in fantasy football.
Nice.
That's my bold prediction, because I was laughed at by Creamer and by Asian Kid and by 1 or 2 other people when I took him 3rd overall. And David Johnson's gonna light the world on fire. And I'll throw another one out there. I think Sammy Watkins is gonna have a breakout year like DeAndre Hopkins had last year.
I could see both of those.
He's got a good quarterback this year.
So those are my 2 fantasy bold predictions. As far as the NFL goes, who,
Who's gonna be in the Super Bowl this year?
I mean, obviously New England on the AFC, NFC.
Falcons.
Yeah.
Madden predicted it.
There you go.
Well, we know how often in Madden's right.
Oh yeah, Madden did predict that. Actually, they predicted them to win it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Cardinals were supposed to be there last year too.
It's as real as the Madden curse and the Sean Saunders curse. It's gonna happen, people.
Best of luck to them. All right. So those are some bold predictions for the week. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next segment, where we all just kind of take a look at Week 1 matchups.